Welcome to Lingo 2 map making tutorials in Godot 4.3 Steamworks. So today I'm going to be talking about how to make your own custom gravity scripts in Lingo 2 using Lingo 2's gravity system. So the first thing to understand about Lingo 2's gravity system is that I wanted to change the player script as little as possible so that Brenton would be able to continue working with it and so not to mess with an already working thing. So the only things I changed in the player script were stuff like, let's go down right here, where this is now referring to basis.y instead of the global y direction. Again, basis.y, basis.y. All I did was change the references to the global y to basis.y, and at some point somewhere, I also defined the up direction for the player, which is a Godot variable that works with the move and slide function here. That tells Godot, hey, this is where you should be. Here we go. Up direction is equal to basis.y. That essentially tells the Godot what to expect as being like a wall that's too steep or whatever. It's compared against the basis.y. Okay, so I have already made a sphere and I've already given it a collision. So I'm going to assume that's trivial. I'm just going to make spherical gravity here and let that kind of show you how the system works, because it's literally just changing the rotation. So I just start by explaining the player as a node so that this can just reference the player here, and I give it a constant called speed that I can adjust to just how quickly the player rotates. The first thing I do is I find my center, and then my up direction is going to be the direction of my center to my current location. So that's your up direction is wherever you are in relation to the sphere, that direction. The player basis, I then just, use it to make a smaller reference for it. And my forward direction is going to be my existing forward direction, which is the z-axis of the player's basis. For Godot, forward is usually going to be the negative z direction, negative z-axis. In other programs, there's different forwards. But this means that our forward-backward axis is always going to be the z-axis. So here I'm going to take that, I'm going to say, all right, it's fine if our player.z is, player basis.z, our z-axis is our forward direction, but subtract any component of it that would overlap with our up direction. So we want an orthogonal thing here. And then I just normalize it, because whatever this is going to be, I have subtracted something from it. It's probably no longer going to be normalized, which means that the magnitude of the vector is equal to 1. So I want to normalize it so that everything plays hunky-dory and nicely. And then my right direction, my leftover one, I just find by taking the cross product of the up direction and the forward direction. And then I orthonormalize that whole thing. So the next part, I am just getting the angle between the desired basis, which is what the new basis that I've made here, and the player basis. The only reason I'm making it to quaternion is so that I can use the angle to command. Otherwise, I would have to find the angles between two bases, and Godot doesn't provide that out of the box for some reason, but whatever, I have plenty of ways to get angles. And then I'm transforming it from radians into angles. Now, the spherical linear interpolation here is something that you do between 2-3 rotations. A normal linear interpolation wouldn't work well because it just try to go straight from one to the other, but what you actually want to do is follow the surface of the sphere instead of crossing through every in-between point. So a linear interpretation in general, it takes a beginning variable, which in this case is going to be our player basis, and an end variable, which is going to be our desired basis, and it finds something that is in between them. So this is a number that's going to be between 0 and 1. Because I am transforming this to angles, and because my speed is 5, this means that every physics frame, I put this in physics process to sync up with the player's physics process here, because all of the player movement happens in physics process. So every physics frame, it's going to try to move a maximum of 5 degrees towards the desired basis from the player's current basis. So I just find that spherical linear interpolation, and then I set it to my current basis. The reason I have this minimum of this and 1.0 here is to make sure this doesn't go above 1.0. I don't know how Godot's slurp works. I haven't experimented with it, but in other linear interpolations or spherical linear interpolation functions, going below 0 or above 1 can cause you to go before the before value or after the final value, and I don't want that. I only want it to go to a maximum of desired at basis, not to wobble around like a top when it's trying to get it done. So let's just go into this and figure out what this does. So I immediately turn around and start falling towards the sphere, and whenever I move, my gravity resets to face the sphere. Now you might be noticing I'm gaining a lot of height when I do this. That's not because I'm magically jumping or anything. That is because I am orbiting. So this is behavior you might not expect, so I kind of have to tell you about it even though it's not related to what we're doing here. So the way that orbits work is you are just moving at a speed tangential to, perpendicular to the Earth, to the direction of the gravity. So in this case, I'm just holding down right, that's all I'm doing, and I am moving very quickly around this. So let's see if I can face somewhere that will show me where is the, here. Now I'm moving backwards, and so you're going to be seeing the what's its name zoom around behind me. So what's happening here isn't that I am moving upwards, it's that I am not falling downwards fast enough to hit the planetoid, or I'm moving backwards fast enough that I'm actually moving off the planetoid. So when I'm moving, I kind of want to move on the flat plane. So I'm moving relative to my immediate gravity. So, my flat plane will end up being something like, if I'm moving to the right, it'll be somewhere like there. So I try to move to the right. I did move on that flat plane. You can see I'm almost moving on a flat plane, and then I, drop back to here when I stop moving to the right. When I keep moving to the right, I keep moving on, a series of flat planes that give me some amount of distance over the planet. The reason I am moving around it in a circle right now is because it keeps drawing me in towards the center, but I keep missing it. So that's what an orbit is. I'm falling, but I'm missing the planet. And when you're up in space, there's very little air friction, and so real-life satellites and stuff only need occasional boosts in order to keep their speed, in order to keep missing the Earth as they fall. So that's orbiting. That's why this is happening. It's not some weird quirk of Lingo gravity, it's just how gravity works. If you wanted to correct this, you should also make a thing in your gravity script, which says when you're moving, you should snap yourself down to the sphere, minus any intentional vertical movement. So, one thing that I didn't do here that you will probably want to do for your own purposes is make something that controls which gravity object is in control of gravity. Because right now, this is always going to be in control of gravity. There's nothing here which ever turns this off or turns it on. So if I try to make two of these, I'm just going to, make a second one right quick. And let's slow down and see what happens. Both of these are going to try to be controlling my gravity every frame. So immediately I've rotated more than I otherwise would. And I can't really move around the... Oh, this isn't working badly. I thought this would be constantly juddery, but I guess the same one is always acting second. So this isn't actually too bad, but if I was trying to make gravity ramps, or I was trying to go onto the surface of a cube, or something like that, this would be absolutely terrible and unusable. If you would want to go on the surface of the cube, the only thing that you need to change is that instead of making your up direction be the direction away from the center, because if I'm on, let me just change this to a box, if I'm on the corner of the cube here, I probably want my gravity to be pointing straight away from the face, rather than, kind of at an angle here so that let's go on to this one, rather than be pointing at an angle so that I'm, looking at here is my up direction and there is the corner of the cube. I probably want to have the gravity that is, the face of the cube. In that case, I would use the normal of the face of the cube that I'm colliding with. It can be a little bit difficult to find that, but custom scripting, I'm not going to go over everything. I'm just telling you how to do the Lingo 2 part of the gravity. And the Lingo 2 part of gravity is very simple, which is, of course, why it's so janky in Icarus and other places where it's actually used. So, yeah, that's your tutorial.